Wow, what up, y'all? This your boy DJ Rooster back at it again for some more basketball talk. All right, it's gonna be a generalist video because the overall theme is role compression, as we talked about in many videos before. Any competitive game, whether it's basketball, chess, football, Pokemon, video games. Any competitive game that has multiple roles, like RPGs and shit like that, the more roles a person, place, or thing can do within the scope of the game, is the higher role compression, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? All those roles are compressed into one. So your role compression. So when it comes to basketball, and Jose Alvarado getting traded depressed me. Because Jose, he's another Drew Holiday. It's the same thing happened when we traded Drew Holiday. Jose Alvarado is just a short Drew Holiday. He has an amazing ability to just compress all of these roles into one player. And so I was working on this video, then Jose got traded, so like all my shit kind of just like, I was gonna do a whole bunch of shit with trades and how to fit these roles together and how they play off of each other. But now we lost our point guard, and we lost somebody who does the most for us, so we got to replace that and we spread that all around. But I'm gonna talk about all the roles that you need for a team. I do this for every competitive thing. I do it for Pokemon. I do it for Yu-Gi-Oh. I do it for you need to do it for chess because all the roles are pretty much pointed out. But you need to make a list of things you need that you really pretty much can't win without all of these. They're the essentials. And if you're missing like some of them, you have to make up for it in other ways. So let's go over it, y'all. The number one thing that you need to have is a primary ball handler. Now, everything else I'm going to list, none of these are really ranked in order because you need all of these, and they're different teams. You need more or whatever. But the most important thing you got to have is right here, the primary ball handler. That role is the most important. The basketball is the most important fucking thing in the game. It's the ball. The ball has energy, as coaches say. So your primary ball handler, and this is broken down in the three important parts. You need to be able to manipulate the defense. Whether that's with your eyes, your body language, you got to be able to move the defense some kind of way. Manipulate the spacing. So that's the same thing. Space defense. Number two, you need to be a good decision maker. You got the ball in your hand, so if you turn that motherfucker over all the time, what's the point? That's why you have to sit Jordan Poole. That's why Draymond Green had to calm it down. Because if you got your primary ball handler turning that bitch over all the time, then yes, you are fulfilling the role, but you're not doing it right. And number three, as a primary ball handler, you need to be able to make anticipatory passes and passes through tight windows. Not just, oh, he's open, I can hit him. You need to be able to anticipate, lead a motherfucker. Like make some more than just good NBA passes. Because anybody on the team should be able to make good, clean, crisp passes from point A to point B. Primary ball handler needs to be able to make different level kind of passes. And that's about as far as I'm going to get into it for any one specific. Because the primary ball handler is really the most complicated and has the most responsibilities. All right. Next, you need a wing defender. You need a POA, point of attack defender. Now, this seems like the same, not necessarily. Because, your POA is the one that's going to be picking up from full court pretty much. And your wing defender is just going to be on the wing. But your point of attack, their job is to slow down the offense before it gets to the half court, or let them not even get into their offense. Because once they get into the offense, then it's like everybody got to defend at that point. And they know your POA, then they're normally going to be your primary defender. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones that's gonna we ISO, and you want this guy on that guy when they're ISOing. You need a offensive facilitator, which is different than a primary ball handler. Your primary ball handler can be an offensive facilitator. It doesn't have to be. A good example for the Pelicans, back when we had Valanciunas, your offensive facilitator is really more like in your half court. So we would, Jose or CJ garbage ass, one of them would bring the ball up. They would be the primary ball handler. And Valanciunas will run the offense. The offense will run through him. They'll throw it to him. He'll evaluate, post out. He's a great passer. He can make it happen. So that is the offensive facilitator. In the half court, when shit gets, mucky, who can generate a point based off of space and based off of more than just pushing out and just getting it. Who can facilitate other players? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a playmaker, but a little bit more specific. All right. You need your rim protector. Self-explanatory. Everybody needs a rim protector. Just this is what it is. Rebounder. Now, that's why positions are made. Positions are made to compress all of these roles. Because what it sounds like, the next one's a rebounder. And normally you want those compressed into two. You want your center to be your best rebounder and rim protector. Doesn't always work that way. Like Misi wasn't a great rim protector at first, but now Misi's way better. Another example, PJ Washington's the best rebounder on, Dallas. Actually, I haven't really kept up as much anymore, but the last couple of years, PJ Washington been a fucking rebounding machine. There's just certain dudes. Another guy, Hart, from the New York Knicks, the Pelicans had. We could have kept, you know what I'm saying. But Josh Hart, another one, just a really good rebounder for their position. Jose was a really good rebounder for his size. But you need somebody that's gonna just crash the boards. That's not really looking to get back. You can crash the boards, but also have the energy to get back on defense a lot. So you need the board crashes. You need some enforcers. Like you need somebody who's gonna come up and swing on a tall motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? when they ain't acting right. Like Jose, like Fears. You need somebody like that. One of the biggest problems with the Pelicans over the past few years is that we've been soft as fuck. We ain't really had that. And every time we get players like that, we give them away. Like we had Valanciunas, gave him away. Like any of our tough enforcer dudes. That's all. Back in the short I just made, I just uploaded. We talked about Golden State being a trash organization, culture. Like your enforcers is part of the culture. You have to build a good culture. You have to, and that's what a culture is for. What a good culture does, a culture takes all of these roles and acknowledges that you need them. And these things just generate themselves naturally based on the energy of the organization. Because good organizations, they set good habits, good standards, and good understanding and good awareness so they can go and win games for the present and the future. So all these going to take care of themselves if they have a good organization. For enforcers, you need, right after enforcers, you need a high IQ players. As many as you can, really. But a few, and I'm not just talking about, because everybody in the NBA, they know basketball to a certain degree, to a certain level. I'm talking about those players that just knows more, what you would consider high IQ, that just make the smart, savvy plays. You need at least a couple people like that. At least one. But preferably two. But three is always the goal. For any of these, you really want three. Three is like a magic number for like many of these. But you want to have at least one as a bare minimum. You need a primary scorer. Goes without saying, who's the number one option? Now, once again, all of these things, these are just keys that every team needs, but if you don't have them, you can still win as long as you have enough of the others. Yeah, because there's every once in a while there's a team that doesn't really have a primary scorer, like like the Pistons, even the Hawks, kind of to a degree. You got Jalen Johnson, but like it's really like by committee over there. But at the end of the day, when shit gets tight, you're gonna need somebody to understand who the pecking order to keep everything smooth, to keep the mental stack down. So that's why even teams that don't really have a primary scorer still kind of do have a primary scorer ish. Almost as important, really just as important as your primary scorer, you need a secondary scorer. Who's that person when the defense is doing everything they can to stop this one guy? You need somebody else who can step up. We had that. Well, we do have that. The Pelicans got that. And Trey Murphy is supposed to be his role, but he's, whatever in that. He's got Zion as the primary and Trey Murphy as the secondary. And then, I don't know. Hold on, I had brain fart. I'm just thinking about the team. But yeah, Trey Murphy's the primary scorer. A secondary scorer. And Saddiq Bey can also be a secondary scorer. But it's just Trey Murphy. I'm going to get to Saddiq Bey's role later. I must do it now. Saddiq Bey and players like him, he's what's called the hammer. Like their roles, it's not really primary, secondary, tertiary. When they get that bucket, I shoot that bitch. When you get it, shoot. When you get the ball, shoot it. For us, that's like the Jonathan Kuminga types, the Brandon Ingram types. We had them here. Even in Toronto, Brandon Ingram. The Saddiq Bey is our hammer. Saddiq Bey is pretty much the Brandon Ingram for our team now. He pretty much took Brandon Ingram's role. Saddiq Bey don't pass that bitch for nothing. When he got the ball, that bitch going up. But he be hitting. And that's what's so mad, because I was about to go into breaking it down how Jose needs to play more. Especially when you keep playing Jose with 3 other guards, and of course, But Saddiq Bey, being a primary scorer, needs to be upgraded to the primary scorer. And, but then they traded the team. They traded. I don't have no damn point guard, so it's hard to get people the ball because you don't have a true point guard. But Saddiq Bey should have been our primary scorer. This dude is just nasty. He's low-key the best player on the team. He's low-key the best player on the team, though. But every team needs that because Saddiq Bey, he doesn't have a pecking order. He doesn't defer to Zion. He doesn't defer to Trey. He doesn't defer to anybody. He's the hammer. Every team needs a hammer. Say, hey, don't give a fuck about your role. Don't give a care who this is. Just go out there and get me a fucking bucket. Cam Johnson. I don't give how many stars? LPJ. Like, get it out the net. Say, look, go get the rebound. What you mean? Pass. Go get the rebound. What's talking about? Every team needs that. A lot of casuals think you don't need that, and a lot of bad organizations think you don't need that. Like Golden State, they don't think they needed that. Brooklyn Nets, but they got MPJ. I guess they think they have MPJ. They can only use one person. So I understand because it's hard to have 2 players like that. And MPJ is more efficient than Cam Thomas and better defensively. Cam Thomas is so awful defensively. I was watching him. I'm rooting for him, but he has no defensive awareness. It's not about effort. It's about awareness. He just doesn't position himself in the right spots. And that's really, a lot of it comes down to positioning, really. But, let's get back to talk about handlers. Because I like talking about the handlers because they don't get appreciated enough. Your team needs a hammer. And that's what fucked the Pelicans up. CJ McCollum was supposed to be that for us. But he tried to be the primary ball handler too, and it don't freaking work. Well, I can't say CJ, man. CJ destroyed our team, and him running the point. Because we had all the pieces. All you had to do was come off the bench and be that role. Just come off the bench, get some buckets. Then you can do. Then you didn't have to pass. But when you're the primary ball handler, and CJ is not that guy, he doesn't have those skills, so he's chucking up fucking shots. If you would have came off the bench as a 6th man, it would have been perfect. We could have kept Brandon Ingram, but this whole thing. But whatever. We got Saddiq Bey, so I'll go for by CJ. Saddiq Bey is a better player than CJ, so it's fine. It's fine. But you need a 3-point specialist, 3-point shooter. Not even specialist anymore. You can't have a 3-point specialist. The league is too talented to have specialists now. You have to do a lot. This is the most role compressed time in the history of the NBA. That's what it is. You need a hustle guy. You need a heart guy. Once again, all of these are best in three. So it's best to have three 3-point shooters, three guys who could be a primary scorer, ideally. But I really only need one or two. But if you can have dudes, if somebody goes down, then you can have somebody fill that role. And that's what's so important about a secondary scorer. Because secondary scorer is supposed to be able to fill in for the primary scorer whenever they go down. That's how it's supposed to be. So that's why that secondary scorer is very important. Hard guy, hustle guy. They're not the same. A hustle guy's gonna do a lot of the little things. You know what I'm saying? And dive on the floor for the loose balls. And there could be some overlap. A lot of times your hustle guy is your heart guy, but not always. Sometimes the hustle guy doesn't have that energy. Your heart guy is that energy. That Jose was that hustle guy and that heart guy, dude that brought heart and soul to the team. Because these are energetic beings. This isn't Madden. A lot of people, I keep saying man, this isn't 2K. When we talk about roles and we talk about skills on a basketball court, there's an energy and emotion to everything too. And players who have that drive, who could elevate the energy of others and who could demoralize other players, like that you need players like that. Jose is one of those players. And as you see, this entire thing I made this was just to show how important Jrue Holiday was to this team and how the Pelicans they did the same thing with Jrue Holiday. They let the fans got rid of Jrue Holiday. They bitched and complained about it and said, let's trade him for a first-round pick. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, top 5 defender all the time. We had Jrue in his prime, but fans don't understand how important a point guard is and be able to run the offense. So I want to really break this down and show y'all just all the different roles that's needed in a basketball court. And then if you understand that, so now when you're watching players and now that you have it in your mind what roles are important, you can see, hey, this guy's doing X, Y, and Z. It's like a check mark. I call it the math of basketball. If you have enough of these, then your total value increases. It's not just about offense or defense. It's about total value. What is the total number of things you can do to bring value to a team? And if you crunch the numbers and it all equals out to a bigger number, then you go with it. You put them in a position so they could generate most of that value. Which is why, Jose is the most valuable player. He just had all these roles and fucking won. Your heart guy, because your heart guys could be the guy that'll swing on a tall motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Just like your enforcer, not necessarily a heart guy, because Beef Stew, he might be a heart guy, I don't really know, but he doesn't seem like to have he doesn't seem very emotional, he just seems like a violent robot. most like fighting dudes are like, Kenya Martin, rah. Beef Stew is kind of a chill crash out, if that make any sense. So I necessarily wouldn't call him a heart guy. But like Jose, he got that heart and soul. You need the heart. So I ain't gonna back down from nobody. I don't care how big you are. I'm swinging on you straight up. Playmakers. You need more playmakers. And the more playmakers you have, the better. People who do a little bit of everything. Who, when the defense is clamping up, it's kind of like the offensive facilitator. It's like a lesser role. But a playmaker could do more on the offense and the defense, because there's playmakers on the defensive side of the ball as well. Dudes who just does certain game-changing, plays. It's small things. Like a Grease Santos type, you know what I'm saying? Like a Derek Queen type, the playmakers that's really gonna just do all the little crazy shit to generate points and generate advantage. You need your floor general. And it goes back into the primary ball handler. The floor, your floor general should be your primary ball handler. That's why the Pelicans are trash, because our floor general was Jose, and they didn't start him. And then we started 5 forwards instead of starting a point guard who's an amazing floor general with a fucking center. To get the most out of your small guards, you need to play with centers. But we kept playing Jose with 2 other small guards. He was a 3-guard lineups. And you want to trade Jose. But you need your floor general. But, once again, this whole thing spawned from Jose. And just showing all the role compression him and Jrue Holiday have. Because I compared Jose to Jrue Holiday. They're the same player. Except Except Jose's a better three-point shooter. I will say that. Holiday got better at shooting the three a little later on in his career. For New Orleans, he shot it all right, but he became much better three-point shooter, especially now in Portland and the Celtics. And of course, Jose's shorter. But they did everything. All these roles, they did everything. And when you have a player that can do everything, you keep them. Oh man, but once again, it's too late. Pelicans already fucked up by getting rid of our most role compressed player. But hopefully in the future, y'all can take this information and use it to evaluate players. I'm not even done yet. We still have more. I will put the time steps in there somewhere. I'm gonna try to figure it out. But we have floor general, who could manipulate the defense, who can. It's just the best way to explain it is a higher level. It's a higher level of primary ball handler. So a floor general is really more of a luxury, because you can still operate as long as you just have a really good primary ball handler. But if you have a floor general like Jose, like CP3, like a point guard, like Rondo, point guards are so important. Or even at the forward position, LeBron, Luka. Luka's not a guard. People keep calling him a guard. Luka's a forward. He's not a guard. He's not a guard. As somebody put it, you are who you guard. And Luka's not guarding no fucking guards. He's not. He's guarding forwards. Luka's a forward. He's a point forward. He's not a guard. Well, he has guard skills though. But you are who you guard. I don't think that's 100% true, but I think that's a good benchmark to do it. Which is a few more left. We have post defender. Once again, these aren't in order because a post defender is very, very important. All of these are very important. You need all of them. They're all equally important, except once again, the primary ball handler is the most important. So by extension, the floor general. But the floor general still is only one. It's only one part, because the floor general still might could turn the ball over too. That's why they're overlapping. Because a primary ball handler, you don't want them to. You want them to take care of the ball as much as you can. Floor general gives you the best chance, play by play, of generating good plays. So they seem similar, but there is a little bit of a distinction there. Post defender, you need a secondary ball handler. This is also very important, man. You need a secondary ball handler. Herb Jones is not a point guard. He should not be a primary ball handler or a secondary one, but he's coming along. We had Jose, we started fucking Herb Jones at the point. Stupid. Fucking stupid, man. Secondary ball handler. That would have been more like a Zion for us. Or, in Golden State's case, they got a bunch of ball handlers. They have all ball handlers. They got connectors everywhere. They have holes other places. But yeah, you need a secondary ball handler. You need rim pressure. Somebody who's gonna provide rim pressure. Once again, it could be a hammer, like a Kuminga type who's always applying rim pressure. It could be like a Zion type. It could be like a Misi type, somebody who's always at the back, is about to yam it on you. Misi about to come up and yam that bit. You need somebody who makes the opponent stick somebody by the rim. Because if you don't have rim pressure, then that clogs up the defense or clogs up the offense. So they could just come out of the rim. But if you got to keep somebody watching the rim, then you have more flexibility. Hey, okay, because I already went over the hammer. Yeah, last one. Last but definitely not least, that rim pressure is important. So everybody, this is pretty much all the roles that you need for a basketball team. And let me count them out. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So you have 18 roles that you need to have. 18 or 21, depending on if you want to break primary ball handling to 3. If you want to break that down to 3, then there's 20 roles. Well, it's 20, yeah, because you take that 18, split that, you got 20, not 21. So you got 5 players on the court. That's why I preach roll compression so bad. You got 18 roles, but only 5 players. So the more one person can do, the better they are. That's just what it is. Well, for the most part, unless you min-max it, you know what I'm saying? You just max out your stats at certain points. But even still, that versatility, I value versatility a lot. But come back to this video. This is gonna be one I'll reference a lot whenever I talk about roles and role compression. Refer to this video. But that's it, everybody. I'm your boy DJ Rooster. Wake your ass up, because Wallace never sleeps. Yeah. In case your loved ones, like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Have a happy Mardi Gras season. I like y'all. Take it easy.